Hi everyone, welcome to Bite Size Stories. I'm Jay. Today we'll be taking a quick bite of episode 1 of the 2010 Chinese TV series Three Kingdoms. Let's begin. Our story is set in the last years of the Eastern Han Dynasty, during which the Yellow Turban Rebellion started in 184 AD. Although the rebellion was stopped within 8 months, the problems within the Han Dynasty runs deep. In 189 AD, the old emperor passed away and his son Liu Bian, a 14-year-old child, became the new emperor. There was a power struggle between the Huanguan group, eunuchs who gained power from being close to the emperor, and the Wai Qi group, relatives of the emperor on his mother's or wife's side. They are led by General-in-Chief He Jing, brother of the emperor's mother, uncle of the emperor. Due to the power struggle, He Jing ordered Dong Zhuo, a general originally guarding the northwestern region of China, to bring troops to the capital to assist him. However, before Dong Zhuo could arrive, He Jing was assassinated by the eunuchs group, and in return, his allies killed most members of the eunuchs group. After a short period of chaos due to the power vacuum, Dong Zhuo arrived at the capital. With his military power, Dong Zhuo quickly took control of the emperor and the imperial court. As a display of power, he made Liu Bian step down and made the even younger Liu Xie, an 8-year-old, the new emperor. His decision was met with many objections, but none took effect, and his savage responses made him the most feared and hated figure in the imperial court. And now, our story finally begins. At the conclusion of an imperial court meeting, Dong Zhuo takes his exit first. The emperor stands up and the officials remain bowing as a display of respect.
Dong Zhuo, courtesy name Zhong Ying, current title Xiangguo, Prime Minister.
After Dong Zhuo's exit, the head eunuch announces the end of meeting. The young emperor takes exit first, then the officials. As the officials are putting on their shoes, a messenger eunuch passed around an oral invitation to Wang Ying's birthday banquet that night. Amongst those invited was Yuan Wei.
Yuan Wei, courtesy name Si Yang, current title Tai Fu, Imperial Mentor.
Someone waits in the hall until the very end of the invitation. That someone is Cao Cao.
Cao Cao, courtesy name Meng De, current title Xiao Qi Xiao Wei, General of Imperial Guard.
But the messenger does not approach him. He rushes out and catches up to Yuan Wei. Cao Cao expresses how much he respects senior officials like Wang Yun and Yuan Wei, and asks why he is not invited to the banquet. Yuan Wei does not offer an answer, instead passes the question back. Don't you know the reason? Cao Cao does in fact. Seeing that Yuan Wei won't give a straight answer, he stated himself the 2 reasons why the senior officials don't welcome him. 1. All the invited officials are from noble families, and Cao Cao is not only not from a noble family, he is in fact the descendant of a eunuch. Cao Cao's father was adopted by a eunuch. All the invited officials were appointed by the previous emperor and are absolutely loyal, also they claim, to the young emperor. Yet Cao Cao has openly declared loyalty and obviously been sucking up to Dong Zhuo. Although Yuan Wei agreed to work with Cao Cao out of courtesy, in fact he despises Cao Cao just as much as other officials. The odd thing was, as Cao Cao listed the reasons, he called Dong Zhuo a traitor out loud. Yet Yuan Wei flinched at the loud statement, shushing Cao Cao in fear of someone overhearing. Seeing there was no point in continuing the conversation, Cao Cao walks away, but not before he mocks how much the senior officials claim to be against Dong Zhuo, yet are startled by a simple sneeze. Night arrives. Wang Yun sits at the head of the dining room, announcing the start of the banquet.
Wang Yun, courtesy name Zi Shi, current title Si Tu, Minister of Education.
As the guests pay compliment to the wine and food, a servant rushes in, informing Wang Yun that Cao Cao has crashed the banquet. Upon hearing Cao Cao's name, the guests started commenting on how rude Cao Cao is for coming without invitation, and how shameless he is as an imperial official yet sucking up to Dong Zhuo. Many guests suggest not letting Cao Cao in at all. Wang Yun seemed to have a different impression of Cao Cao. He believes Cao Cao is someone with great ambition. He does not seem like a person willing to be a lapdog. Wang Yun orders to let Cao Cao in, and set him a seat at the end of the dining room. Cao Cao enters, greets Wang Yun, and wishes him happy birthday. Ignoring mutters from the other guests, Cao Cao takes his seat. Wang Yun then begins his official speech, stating that today is not his birthday, instead it's his death day. As he continues on how the 400-year-old Han Dynasty is coming to an end, how Dong Zhuo is abusing his power, mistreating the emperor, and bringing shame to the imperial court, all the guests start crying, all but one. With the room filled with sobbing, a sudden laughter breaks attention. Wang Yun stops his speech and asks Cao Cao why he is lowing. Cao Cao claims that he finds it funny that a room full of men knows only of crying and not trying to solve the problem in any meaningful way. He also claims that he is able to kill Dong Zhuo easily. After being shamed by Cao Cao, the guests believe his claim to be arrogant and mad. Wang Yun calls upon his guards and throws Cao Cao out. Cao Cao was taken outside. Before he could leave, a servant appears and secretly brings him back inside to a private meeting room. It turns out Wang Yun was quite impressed by Cao Cao's courage of suggesting killing Dong Zhuo and wanted to avoid discussing this any further with the presence of others. After the banquet, Wang Yun met with Cao Cao in the private room. Cao Cao explains that he has been cozying up to Dong Zhuo to gain his trust and find an opportunity to kill him. And now that time has come, Cao Cao is now able to enter Dong Zhuo's mansion and living quarters without being searched for a weapon. However, a problem remains. From previous failed assassinations by others, Cao Cao learned that Dong Zhuo is always wearing an inner armor, preventing harm from ordinary weapons. Cao Cao heard that Wang Yun has a family heirloom, the 7-star blade, known to be able to cut through metal with ease. He wishes to borrow this weapon for the assassination. Wang Yun asks if he realizes that whether he succeeds or not, there will be no returning. Cao Cao confirms that he is willing to take that risk in order to purge the evil and bring peace back to the Han Dynasty. Wang Yun is touched by Cao Cao's bold words and gave him the weapon. To Cao Cao's surprise, the legendary weapon is held with a very plain-looking leather sheath. Wang Yun explains, the value of a treasure cannot be judged by its appearance. It's what is within that counts. Cao Cao accepts the weapon and promises that the assassination will take place within 3 days. 2 days later, Cao Cao arrives at Dong Zhuo's mansion and successfully enters without being searched. He met with Dong Zhuo and Lu Bu.
Lu Bu, courtesy name, Fen Xian, current title, Zhonglang Commander of Palace Guard.
Here, Cao Cao shows off his sweet talk ability. Not only did he get a free horse from Dong Zhuo, he also got a big smile out of the cold-faced Lu Bu. Dong Zhuo sends Lu Bu off to fetch Cao Cao a good horse, while he chats with Cao Cao about the current affairs. He expresses his annoyance to the current senior officials. He knows that they are trash-talking him behind his back. He also shows some concerns about the new anti-Dong Zhuo alliance, consisting of 18 lords from around the country, led by Yuan Shao, someone who Dong Zhuo regrets letting escape from the capital. Cao Cao continued his sweet talk. You have the invincible cavalry, commanded by the unmatched Lu Bu. Under the leadership of your infinite wisdom, your army cannot be defeated. Dong Zhuo is very pleased. He decides to take a nap due to the heat. Cao Cao shows his loyalty by walking with Dong Zhuo to his living quarters and fans him while he sleeps. Moments later, Dong Zhuo begins to snore. After calling out his name a few times without getting a response, Cao Cao is sure that Dong Zhuo is sound asleep. He looks outside. No guards are nearby. He silently pulls out the blade and slowly approaches Dong Zhuo. Just before he got close enough, the blade passes through a ray of sunlight, causing a quick flash over Dong Zhuo's eyes, waking him. Dong Zhuo sits up and calls out in alarm. Guards rushes into the room. With quick wits, Cao Cao immediately kneels down and held up the blade flat with both hands. My lord, I wish to offer this precious weapon, the 7-star blade. I came into it recently and thought only someone like you truly deserves such treasure. Maybe it's from just waking up or greed over the treasure. Dong Zhuo didn't see the flaw in Cao Cao's explanation. He even handed back the blade to Cao Cao for demonstration. After seeing how easily the weapon cut a bronze mirror in half, Dong Zhuo is overjoyed. Cao Cao quickly excuses himself. As he rushes out to leave, Lu Bu appears and stops him. Fortunately, it was just Lu Bu returning with the horse that was promised to him. Cao Cao thanks Lu Bu and rides off. Seeing Lu Bu's return, Dong Zhuo could not wait to show off his new treasure. Lu Bu also praises such fine craft. But upon hearing the name 7-star blade, he remembered it being a family heirloom of Wang Yun. Making this connection and thinking back to Cao Cao's strange behavior after he woke up, Dong Zhuo realizes that Cao Cao must have got this weapon from Wang Yun to assassinate him. Before he could send someone to call back Cao Cao, a city gate guard came to confirm an oral order from Dong Zhuo. It turns out that Cao Cao immediately rushed to the nearby city gate and tricked the gate guard to let him out by falsifying an oral order from Dong Zhuo. Furious to hear this, Dong Zhuo gives the blade to Lu Bu, ordering him to hunt down Cao Cao and cut off his head with this very blade. Lu Bu gathers a group of horsemen and sets off. First, everyone in Cao Cao's mansion was slaughtered. Then Lu Bu tracks Cao Cao down to the wilderness. By this time, Cao Cao has already given up the horse and is traveling on foot. He just made a turn on a small path before he hears people and horses in the distance. He quickly gets off the path and hides behind a tree. Moments later, a team of horsemen passes by. Cao Cao may have narrowly miscaptured this time, but how much longer can he last? And having discovered the original owner of the 7-star blade, what would happen to Wang Yun? We will find out in the next episode. The 2010 Chinese TV series Three Kingdoms is an adaptation of the Chinese fiction novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is based on the Three Kingdoms era, roughly from 184 AD to 280 AD of China's history. Other than portraying events from the novel, the 2010 Three Kingdoms also added many side stories and small details to bring more depth to its characters. For example, in this episode, I really enjoyed the opening scene, seeing how Dong Zhuo is the first to leave the imperial court meeting, having his weapon on his waist, having his shoes on inside the hall, how his sneeze startles all the other officials, and that his armored guards meets him right outside the hall. You can really feel the kind of power he holds and the fear he projects on others. As a side note, you may notice courtesy name in my character intros. It's a tradition in ancient China, too long to go into in details. The general rule is that the courtesy name is usually used to refer to others, and the actual name is used when referring to oneself, or senior referring to junior, in family or employer to employee, teacher to student. Misuse of people's name is a sign of disrespect. So when you watch the show, you will notice that you hear Cao Mengde much more than Cao Cao. The tradition of courtesy name is no longer in use in modern China. This is all for this episode. Please click subscribe and like if you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment if you have any suggestions or questions. I will do my best to improve future videos. See you next time.